Hello, and welcome to my poster presentation. This presentation is about the intergenerational transmission of the Japanese language in Argentina. The question that I've been looking at is, how is Japanese transmitted over the generations? When talking about minority languages, the typical forecast is that language will probably be dead by the third generation, and that is partially true for this case. And so the questioning point is, what are the factors that lead to this change, specifically in Argentina? And in order to answer this question, I've been doing archive revision, reading extensive bibliography, and interviewing Japanese community members about their history and practices. I'm going to comment briefly on the main points, but I do invite you to go over the poster if you'd like a more detailed outlook. You will find the terms Issei, which means first generation, Nisei, second generation, and Sansei, third generation. First of all, I'm going to talk about the community profile. The Japanese immigration in Argentina began at the turn of the 20th century. Contrary to what happened in Peru or in Brazil, where the Japanese immigration was planned, in Argentina it started spontaneously and by the call of relatives. This means that Japanese migrants who were already settled in Argentina invited others to join them. Nowadays, the Japanese community has around 50,000 members, and around 70% are of Okinawa origin. This means that for a long time, Uchinaguchi remained as a spoken language at home, with Japanese prevails in community intercommunication. The Japanese community is also known for its great deal of intermarriage, a pattern which is now reversing. Now, if you take a look at the results section in the poster, you will see that there seems to be a pattern in the transmission of language in 3 periods of the history of the community. During the first period, the Japanese had the expectation to seek fortune in Argentina for some time, say 5 years, and then return home. And so this first generation had a very strict, only Japanese policy at home, and was deeply concerned about passing over their language to their children so that they would smoothly settle in Japan on their way back. There was also this strong belief that Japanese was the language of the empire, and that children should therefore learn it well to become proper subjects. There was no total consensus on this point, however, because the value of transmitting Japanese to the younger generation was also subject to debate inside the community. Not everybody agreed that the transmission was a good idea, because it deterred integration into Argentinian society. During the second period, that is, after Japan's defeat at the Second World War, the family project of returning to Japan was abandoned. The language transmission started to be gradually dropped and gave in to Spanish. Many started to question whether passing on Japanese was worthwhile, since Spanish as a host language provided more opportunities for economic growth and self-improvement. In some cases, Nisei did not fully master Japanese, and their parents did not master Spanish completely, and this created family communication problems. Some Nisei even felt embarrassed of speaking their family language, or believed their own parents to be stupid for not being able to express themselves in proper Spanish. This led to a very interesting inside community debate among young Nisei in the 1960s, many of whom created a national forum to discuss identity issues. And so the younger generation was now speaking up and wondering if they should be considered Japanese that didn't speak good Japanese, or Argentinians who spoke a little Japanese, or maybe something else between those lines. This situation went on until around the 1980s, and the intergenerational transmission of Japanese is typically cut at this point at home. Only nursery rhymes, food names, and greetings were being preserved. The Japanese is still taught at Saturday schools. The present generations are almost exclusively Spanish dominant, and Japanese learning is thriving, but also for them as a somewhat foreign language. What has happened is a shift in the language ideology. Japanese has started to be seen as a language of future opportunities as well as past heritage and family identity. So, all in all, the intergenerational transmission of language was dependent on many factors, but most importantly on the role of the community. The community is important because it creates opportunities for speakers or semi-speakers to use the language, provides a sense of togetherness, and negotiates the link between Japan and Argentina. It's also interesting that throughout its history, community life is also intertwined with inside debates regarding transmission of language and identity. So that's all. Thank you all very much.